everyone, I'm Sarah of Rich Textures Crochet and welcome. Today we're going to learn how to crochet the Brighton beanie. This is the third beanie in the Wonderful Hats Crochet Along 2022 and I'm so happy that you're here. If this is your first time hearing about the Crochet Along, check out the links in the description of this video and you'll find the direct link to this pattern, which will give you all the information about this Crochet Along. Each of the beanies in the Crochet Along has a matching scarf, so be sure to watch out for the matching scarf pattern later on this week. This is the Brighton beanie. It is an intermediate crochet pattern simply because of the variety of crochet stitches that are found in it. Hopefully this video tutorial will help you along your way. For the pattern today, we're going to be using a worsted weight yarn. I'll be working with the Color Theory yarn by 2 of Wands and Lion Brand yarn. It is a worsted weight yarn. It is a little bit on the lighter side if you're looking to substitute something for it. I will be pairing it with a G7 crochet hook or a 4.5mm crochet hook, and direct links to these items can be found in the description of this video. So thank you so much for joining me. While you're here, I invite you to subscribe, take a look around. There's lots of other crochet beanie patterns and other patterns here as well for yourself and for your home. This channel is updated every week with new patterns and crochet stitch tutorials. Now our beanie pattern today is worked from the brim up. We're going to be working the adult size to fit a 20 to 23 inch circumference of a head today in the video, and I'll give you instructions later on how to adjust the size. So we're going to start by working the brim of our hat by making a slip knot, and then you're going to chain 26 chains. Now this is to make a brim that can be folded over and doubled up. If you'd rather have a brim that's a little bit shorter, that you're not going to be folding up, I recommend that you chain about 13 chains. For now, we're going to chain 26. Once you have your foundation chain the length you would like, you're going to begin row 1 by working a slip stitch into the second chain from your hook and then into each chain all the way across. Now, if you are not a fan of a slip stitch brim, I love the slip stitch brim, but if you are not, you're welcome to substitute these slip stitches for either single crochet or half double crochet. It's up to you. I'm going to slip stitch in that second chain and then each chain all the way across. At the end of row 1, chain 1 and turn your work. For row 2, we're going to be working in the back loops only. So when you're looking at the top of your stitch, you have this loop that is closest to you, and you have a loop that's furthest away. The one that's furthest away is your back loop only. So for row 2, we've chained 1, it does not count as a stitch, and you're going to slip stitch, working in the back loop only of the first stitch, and then each stitch all the way across. So always working in the back loop only, slip stitch in each stitch across. For the rest of the brim, you're going to continue by repeating this row 2, chain 1, slip stitch in the back loop only of each stitch all the way across, chain 1 and turn, slip stitch across in the back loop only. You're going to repeat this row 2 until your work from the beginning measures approximately 16 to 17 inches when the fabric is relaxed. So you don't want to stretch it. It should fit comfortably around your head. You can also simply work to the desired length if you're going to be changing the size of your beanie. So go ahead, work row 2 until your work from the beginning measures the 16 to 17 inches, and then meet me back here. Once you've worked your 16 to 17 inches for your brim, we're going to join our two short sides together. So you're going to fold them over. At the end of your last row, you'll have chained one. You're then going to work a slip stitch seam all the way across your short edge. What we're going to do is under that first stitch, working in the back loop only of both thicknesses, we're going to slip stitch all the way across. So pick up the front side and the back side, working in the back loop only, and slip stitch. You're going to continue to work your slip stitches through both thicknesses all the way across to the other side of your short edges. Once you come all the way across your brim, if you're working the long brim as I have, we're going to leave our brim as it is. We're simply going to turn so we're working along this rough edge. If you've worked a shorter brim, so one that you're not going to fold over as I am, you're going to turn your brim so that the right side is facing out. For round one now of our hat body, we're going to work around this rough edge, and we're going to start round one by working 84 half double crochet stitches all the way around. We're just simply inserting our hooks where it feels comfortable around this rough edge of our brim. We do want our stitches to be spaced fairly evenly, so if it helps, you can place a stitch marker about halfway around, work half on one side, half on the other. So work 84 half double crochet stitches. If you need to change the size of your beanie, you're going to need a multiple of 6 stitches for this half double crochet round. At the end of round one, you'll have 84 half double crochet stitches. You're going to join with a slip stitch into that first stitch. For round two, we're going to chain one, single crochet into the first stitch, skip the next 2 stitches, and into your next stitch, work 5 double crochet stitches. This is going to be your shell stitch. Skip the next 2 stitches and single crochet into the next stitch. We're now going to repeat that all the way around. Skip the next 2 stitches, into your next stitch, work 5 double crochets, skip the next 2 stitches and single crochet into the next stitch. Repeat this all the way around until you have 2 stitches remaining, and then you'll join with a slip stitch into the top of your first stitch. At the end of round 2, join with a slip stitch into your first stitch. For round 3, we're going to begin by chaining 2. You're then going to double crochet 2 stitches together. To double crochet 2 stitches together, you're going to yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over and drop a loop, yarn over and pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through 2. You're then going to yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over and draw up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2. You'll have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops. When combined with our chain 2, it's going to equal a double crochet 3 together. You're then going to chain 2 and single crochet into the next stitch. The next stitch should be that 3rd double crochet in your set of 5. Chain 2, and we're now going to work a double crochet 5 together over the next 5 stitches. So yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over and draw up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. You're going to do that 4 more times in each of the next 4 stitches. You will have 6 loops on your hook. Yarn over and draw through all 6 loops. Chain 2. We're now going to repeat that all the way across. Single crochet into your next stitch, chain 2, and double crochet 5 stitches together over the next 5 stitches. Chain 2 and single crochet. Repeat that all the way around until you come back to your starting double crochet 3 together. When you come around and you have 2 stitches remaining, you're going to chain 2, double crochet 2 together over those 2 stitches, and then join with a slip stitch into the top of that first double crochet 3 together. We're then going to chain 1, and for round 4, single crochet into the top, or into that same stitches joining, so into that double crochet 5 together. You're then going to skip the next chain 2 space and work 5 double crochet into the next single crochet stitch. Skip the next chain 2, single crochet into the top of the next 5 double crochet 5 together, so into the next stitch. Skip the next chain 2, work 5 double crochets into the next single crochet. You're going to repeat that all the way around. Once you come all the way around, at the end of round 4, you're going to join with a slip stitch into that first stitch and then chain 2. We're now going to repeat rounds 3 and 4 more times. So this is rounds 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So repeat rounds 3 and 4 more times, and then you're going to repeat round 3 once more. Once you have done that, worked all the way through to the end of round 13, you're going to meet me back here to work the decrease in our hat. Once you come all the way around at the end of your repeats, at the end of round 13, this is your work from the beginning. You'll have ended on round 13, which is a repeat of your round 3. We're now going to start the last few decrease rounds to form the top of our beanie. For round 14, we chained 1. You're going to single crochet into the first stitch. Skip the next chain 2 space, and into the next single crochet, you're going to work a double crochet, a cluster stitch, and 1 more double crochet. To work your cluster stitch, we're going to yarn over, insert our hook into the same stitch, yarn over and draw up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. You're going to do that 2 more times into the same stitch. Once you have 4 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 4 loops. Then complete this in the single crochet by working 1 more double crochet. So double crochet, cluster, double crochet. Skip the next chain 2 and into the next stitch, work a single crochet, We're now going to repeat. Skip the next chain 2, double crochet, cluster stitch, and double crochet all into the same stitch. You're going to repeat this all the way around. At the end of your round 14, you've finished with the double crochet. We're going to join with a slip stitch into our first stitch. For round 15, chain 1. We're going to work a double crochet 2 together over the first 2 stitches. Chain 1 and single crochet into the next stitch. Chain 1 and work a double crochet 3 together over the next 3 stitches. Chain 1. We're going to repeat this all the way across. Single crochet into the next stitch, chain 1, double crochet 3 together. And chain 1. Repeat all the way around, and then you'll join with a slip stitch into the top of your first stitch. At the end of round 15, you'll have 1 stitch remaining. You've single crocheted, chained 1. You're going to double crochet into that final stitch and then join with a slip stitch into the top of your double crochet 2 together. Chain 1. For round 16, we're going to single crochet into the first stitch and then into our next single crochet, so skip that chain 1, into the next single crochet stitch, work a cluster stitch. Skip the next chain 1 stitch and single crochet into the next. Skip the next chain stitch and cluster into the next single crochet. We're going to repeat this all the way around, ending with 1 final cluster stitch and then joining with a slip stitch into the first stitch. At the end of round 16, we're joining with a slip stitch into our first single crochet and chain 1. For round 17, we're going to work 1 cluster stitch in each single crochet all the way around. So beginning with our first stitch, work 1 cluster stitch into this single crochet. You're going to skip the next cluster stitch and into your next single crochet, work a cluster. Repeat that, skip the next cluster into your next single crochet, work a cluster stitch. Do that all the way around and join with a slip stitch into the top of your first stitch. At the end of round 17, join with a slip stitch into the top of your first cluster and chain 1. We have 1 final round to close off the top of our hat, and we're simply going to work a half double crochet 2 stitches together over each stitch all the way around, and then join with a slip stitch in your first stitch. At that time, you can then fasten off, leaving a long tail, and we're going to use that tail to sew the top of our hat closed. half double crochet in each stitch all the way around. Once you come all the way around, at the end of round 18, you're going to join with a slip stitch into that first stitch and then fasten off, once again leaving a little bit of a long tail. You're then going to use that tail to sew the top of your hat closed. So thread it through a yarn needle, and then what I like to do is just turn my hat briefly inside out. Take that long tail and weave it in and out through that top or that final round of stitches all the way around the top of your hat. Once you come all the way around, you're simply going to pull it closed and then secure. After that, simply weave in your ends a little bit. Trim them off. Trim off any other ends that you might have and weave them in. If you would like, you can add a pom-pom. However, the top of the hat also looks quite nice, so you may find that you don't need one. Turn up your brim and your Brighton beanie is complete. So thank you so much for joining me once again. Don't forget to subscribe. Be sure to check out the matching scarf pattern, which will be along shortly. And until I see you again, happy crocheting. Bye.